sometimes have to ask.
Brian, it says, oh yeah, start my video. Okay.
I have like a real, godlike control over who gets to see what, apparently.
Will I share my screen as well?
Yes, please. Yes, do. And also, I think, we'll always start with the good question, which is, who are you and what do you do? So whenever you're ready, when you've got your screen started.
Okay, let me do the screen starting, because that's the bit that's made me nervous, and then I will explain all about it.
Fantastic. We've got lots of schools, by the way, Dan, lots of schools obviously staying at home today because it's a nightmare.
Oh, right, it's a strike day.
No, it's a snow day. No one can get into school. So we've actually got a slightly lower attendance than we were expecting, but it means that more people will be watching this post-event. So you're going to be, going
okay, no problem.
I imagine, in a couple of weeks' time.
All right, great. Okay, so I will give a bit of a brief of what I'm doing. So my name is Dan Wallman. I am from TechNative Digital. My background is very much in creative and digital skills. I founded and led a creative college called DV8 Sussex for many years, which was to empower creative thinkers to move into creative careers, basically. And since then, I've been doing a few other things, and I am now tackling the digital skills gap, which is a real passion of mine, through a new organisation called TechNative Digital. So I'll give you a bit of information about what all that means. Now, hopefully, this will just move on. Cool. So our mission is to close the tech skills gap, which I'll explain a bit more about that, but it means supporting more people to learn the right skills to move into purposeful and rewarding careers in tech, creative, and digital. And it also means we want to help businesses to source new talent to help develop their teams and grow their business. So I'll give a bit of background on why we're doing this. Basically, digital transformation and tech now means everything that we do. It impacts so much on our life. It's digital and tech has transformed the way we play, work, shop, the way we interact with each other, the way we communicate, the tools we use, the crazy stuff we've got in our pocket, the power of sort of the connectivity and the phones that we've got and everything else. So for young people growing up now, you've got an incredible access to a huge amount of information and tools and everything else. And businesses really need that to grow and develop their businesses. But, well, not but, the sector, the digital sector, tech sector, grew hugely through the pandemic. Everyone went online, as you will all know and remember, and nearly every business had to suddenly become a digital business, selling things online, communicating online, and so on. The sector's now worth nearly $1 trillion. It was over it, and I think the dollar changed and so on. It's just behind US and China, the UK sector, that is. It's worth a huge amount of money. It employs loads of people, nearly 5 million people in the UK. About 14% of the workforce is now working in some way in digital and tech. It's the biggest employing sector. That little tiny graph on the right, if you can see it, the black line at the top is tech, and it's bigger than every other sector in terms of jobs. So if you're now looking to move into a career where there's great work that can really affect the world around us, and there's jobs, then tech is a really good place to look. There's over 100,000 vacancies go unfilled every month, according to a recent report. There's not enough talent. There's not enough tech talent coming out of schools, colleges, and universities at the moment to fill all these jobs. So there's a gap between what is needed by businesses and what is actually available to them. One of these issues, one of the reasons behind this is there's a real lack of diversity, both in people in school and college courses, taking up courses, but also then sort of working in the industry. And there's some pretty stark stats. Women only make up 19% of the UK tech workforce. It's less at the senior board levels. Only 8% of the UK tech workforce is from an ethnic minority. I did a bit of research around this as part of another project. 77% of all 16 to 18-year-olds taking ICT courses were white boys. So there's the real lack of representation of girls, of other groups, of even neurodiverse groups and all sorts of different groupings that you could look at. There's not enough of coming through, and only 10% of digital apprentices were from an ethnic minority. So we want to help change that, and I think that's really important to change that. And if you're watching this today, I think that's one of the messages I want to get across, is that there's no one sort of person that can go into tech. And I'll give you a bit of an idea of the sort of skills that you will need. Now, I think the most important thing to that employers tell us over and over is it's not actually the tech skills, it's the soft skills that you come with, the power skills, whatever you want to call them, being able to work in a team, being able to work in an agile way, which is the project management way through projects. It's being able to collaborate, to present information, to communicate, work with others, work in pairs to solve problems, seeing patterns and logic, and solving tricky challenges through kind of independent thinking and creative problem solving, and being resilient to try and fail and try again and learn. It's so important. These are the actually the attributes that are going to get you really far. The rest can be learned and picked up. So I think that's a really important message that we hear over and over. So when it actually gets to looking at the job titles and what jobs you're going to do, the titles can be really confusing and it gets very technical. So I know I've not got a huge amount of time, but I'm going to whiz through just some of the key disciplines in tech and what they mean. So most people would think of tech as being coding, software engineering, and web development. So behind every single digital product is a developer, websites, apps, and bits of software using logic and maths. So they use the nuts and bolts that make the big ideas and the features work. So anything on screen that you see, including this Zoom call and everything else, everything on your phone requires some degree of coding. So if you're analytically driven, but have creativity, you love efficiency and detail-driven problem solving, you're adaptable, you're always asking questions and inquisitive. So if an aptitude for using logic to create, you're built to build with code. So these are the sort of courses that can help you get into coding. You know, it's not just computing, maths, physics, design, and English. It's about communication as much as tech. And that kind of runs through a lot of these skills. So you might hear jobs called product management, you might not, it's quite a new term. So this is about sort of leading a product from development to market. So lots of new ideas, you know, your Deliveroos or whatever it is, or your apps or your Roblox or whatever app started with an idea and someone had to develop that. And you have to manage teams and work between clients and teams and everything else and make sure everyone collaborates to deliver a product. Just want to make it happen. If you're a big picture thinker, you've got a long-term vision, you can solve short-term problems, then you're good for product management. So subjects like business studies or economics, again, computing, maths, design, and English appear over and over. There's good options to move forward with. Data. So I noticed there was someone on the call about data later. It's the force that organizes heaps of loads and loads of information and turns it into insight, and you can spot trends. Every business needs it. So if you're detail orientated, analytical thinker, you find joy in challenging, you know, solving a puzzle. You have a gift for big ideas, but grounding it with logic. You have an eye for detail and a curiosity. Then it sounds like you could be for data wrangling, which is about using loads of data and making it work. So again, maths, computing, business studies, sciences. It doesn't necessarily involve tech, it can be about physical interaction with spaces. It's about how the user experiences anything. So if you walk into a museum, it could be about how the museum's laid out. But in the digital sphere, it's about how people interact with your product, with your app, with your software. Have you ever used a bit of software that's really frustrating, or a website that's really frustrating and it doesn't work for you? That's because the UX isn't working properly. So it's about how people interact with a product. You put yourself in the user's shoes. You're a problem solver. You have a gift for understanding what makes people tick. So if you've got an eye for detail, can empathize and understand how people tick, and you got the makings for a successful UX designer. And there's the other side of it is UI, user interface, which is the sort of more techie side of it, which is people designing the way that the user experience works. So you often hear UX and UI put together. So design, art and design, interestingly, there's much more about this creative thinking and the layout and all sorts of things. And psychology can lead you into this sort of career. So lastly, and this is probably an area that most of you would have heard of or be familiar with, digital marketing. So your goal is to engage, attract and retain customers across different platforms and channels. So it could be social media, email, web, or search, or different ways. So if you're going to go into digital marketing, ask yourself, are you passionate about storytelling? Do you have an eye for complex narratives? Can you manage complex and fast-moving projects? A talent for communication? You work in teams. There's also, there'll be a lot about data in marketing as well. How many people are looking at your advert, clicking on your adverts, and clicking through to your sites and all this sort of thing. So this is probably where you'd link up with some data people, and have a look at how effective you've been, and it all sort of joins up together. So if you're a creative thinker with the ability to collaborate, communicate, and understand people, then you've got to make a good marketeer. So business studies, economics, maths, computing, design, and tech and English are going some common themes that are coming through here in terms of what you want to look for if you're looking at A-levels, or if you're still choosing the GCSEs or looking to go to the university. There's more options. Those are the main sort of areas, so I didn't have much time. So key takeaways, nearly every company is now a tech company. You don't have to work for a tech company to have a career in tech. That everyone needs these functions now. There's no one type person that can be successful. And in fact, the sector's crying out for new people, new talent, and you could be that talent for sure. So not all jobs are techie. So just trying to undo that myth about sort of tech jobs, that it's all about sort of sitting in front of a computer and all night typing away. It's not true. There's all sorts of different roles and jobs, and most of them are around people and teams and collaboration. There's no one route. People are coming to these jobs having often studied or worked in all sorts of different areas, and then end up in tech. Passion, I think this is probably the top one. If your subject is vital, if you want to get work in the tech industry, start a hobby now. Start doing stuff in your bedroom. Start making a game. Start coding something. Start making a little website. Start creating something yourself, and so that when you talk to employers, you can show how passionate you are about it, and your personal skills will make all the difference. Teamwork, communication, problem solving, resilience are amongst them, but they're so important to you being successful. So there's tons of guidance online available. I've just given a few links here, and you can just Google, coding clubs or guidance or so on. There's some great advice on some of these sites. Some of these have some paid for stuff, but because there's quite a lot of free stuff on them. And that's me. If you want to contact me, and I think that's my 15 minutes done.
Absolutely smashed it. Bang on time, Dan. Thank you so much. I feel like there was so much to take away there. Great foundation of knowledge for the rest of the talks to build on. it's not just about hard skills, it's also about soft skills, guys, especially in the creative industries. You need to be able to communicate all of that tech stuff, I imagine, to the other people that you work with. All of that list, oh my God, that's list of places where you can go to discover more about the different skills that you can gain in the kind of creative tech world. Absolutely, like, unbelievable slide. Thank you so much. We will definitely be sending these around to everyone afterwards. Also, guys, remember, we do put loads of free free courses, free training programs, stuff like that, that are all around the kind of techie side of the creative industries. We actually put those on the app as well, so please do download the Eric app in order to get access to things that can help you learn more about digital marketing, stuff like that. Anyway, I've actually rabbited on too much now, so I've taken us over time. I'm so sorry, Dan. You did stick to time. Thank you so much